welcome back to CodeWithKamira. Today we are going to look at the cart feature. So we are going to start by creating that feature. We call it carts. And in it, we can create the directories. We have data. Sorry, we rename it. Okay, then we have domain. We have logic. We have UI. So in UI, we shall have pages. We shall have widgets. In logic, we are going to have, we call it cart states, cart state. And we shall have Cart Cubit. Then in the domain, let's have repositories. And we can have in repositories, we shall have the cart repository. In data, we can have models, and we can have repositories. Hope you still remember the difference between the repositories in data and the repositories in the domain. Just to re-echo myself, the repositories in the domain are abstract classes, that means methods without implementation, and the repositories in the data are the implementations of those repositories in the domain. Okay, we can check our URL. So we have carts. I think we want to consume this. Okay, let's check the API client class here. It's a get, so we are going to say, let's create it here. Get, and it's carts, okay? Items, to make much more sense. And it has no path. Let me check. Good. It has no path variable. So we remove at path. Okay. Anytime we make such a change, this class will complain because it needs an auto-generated file. So we copy this and we try to auto-generate that we've done so far. Okay. Now, since we've set this, these ones are meant to be consumed in the repositories. Let's go to our repository. We begin with the domain, cart repository. Let's say abstract class cart repository. This will have all the methods that relate to the cart. And our first one is going to return a feature of type network response, our custom response class, network response. and we call it get cart items. Okay. Now we have repositories here. So we create this cart repository implementation. So that is a class cart repository impl, which implements methods inside the cart repository. So okay, we have this that we need its implementation. Now we say try, and here we can say final, but it's a future, so we say async first. So final response equals to await. Now where is the response going to come from? From the API client. So that means we can say let, depending on how we want to initialize that, let API client, so cart repository implementation. Okay, we don't want this to be passed when initializing the repository, but let it be initialized here. We say API client equals to API service dot API client. Okay. So here we shall have API client dot get cart items. Now, if no error inside the try, then we return a network response with success true and the data being the response. So now if it fails, there are two situations. One is that it is failing on a D exception, and the other could be any kind of failure. So we say on DO exception, you catch that. So final, the message is going to be what's happening. Is going to be exception.response dot data, and I pick the message from this response data, and I return a network response with success false and error being the message. Then else we just catch any error that is returned. So here the message is going to be equals to e.toString, meaning whatever we get from the exception, we just return it in a string format. Success is false, and the error is going to be the message. Okay. Now we have this repository. We need to register it in our blocks. So we go here. So we can duplicate this note first time. And this is Cart repository. Okay. That's done. Now we need the logic. So in the logic, we begin with the states. Let's create our class. We call it cart state. It extends equatable. And this, we can see this. Yeah. We're going to get the various states. We have class initial, which extends the cart state. Nothing else is needed in that. Then we have class loading. You can say cart items loading. Also here, nothing to pass. Now we have class cart items success. So here for success, we need data, which we don't know the type yet. Okay, carts. Let's success. Yes, dot cards. Props. We are going to return cards. Let's call it cart items. Then error, copy paste, we call cart items error. Here we return the message, error message. Okay. Now we go to the qubit itself. Class qubit. To become a qubit, it extends qubit. And the state is the cart state. So here we don't take it this way, we put it outside. Super. We give the initial state. So this qubit will require a repository, which is the cart repository. Call it repository. So we pass here this that repository. And the method we now have here is a future of type void and this get cart items. So in here, this is an async. So in here, we can say final. Let's emit the initial state loading, I mean the first loading state. So we emit cart items loading state should autocomplete. Cart, oh yeah. Cart items loading state. Now it's a final response is equals to await repository dot get cart items. So we check for the success and failure. So if response dot success, then final response data equals to response dot data print. We want to see what is coming, what is being returned to us. Cart response data. So else, but we emit cart items success, and what we pass is the response data. We are not sure of which type, but we shall correct in case of any error. So here we are going to say final error equals to response dot error. If null, something wrong happened, and we emit cart items error. The message is the error. What is the problem now? Okay, so now we need to register the qubit as well. Copy this. Cart Qubit. And the repository is the implementation of the cart repository. So we are done. Now what we can do next, let's try to go to home and call this function home page. Okay. Let's call. So it's get cart. Oh, this is the cart qubit. We get cart items. Let's try. We log in Emily S. Emily S. Pass. What's wrong? You put a wrong Emily's. All right. There's an error there. Okay. Okay, so we check. Yeah, so we got our cart items here, you can see. So this is the response. Carts in the list. Okay. Now we want to customize the response. So let me create the models. In the models, we are going to have the cart's response. Let's call it cart response. So we get this part. Then we see that we in the cart response, it gives us the total count, skip and limit. So there is pagination aspect. We shall handle that as we proceed. So cart. Carts. Now this every cart has products to it. And this is it. So realize that the cart response is giving us a list of carts, and every cart has a list of products with the user ID, the owner of that given cart. All right, so now we'll go modify the API client. So these carts, okay. So here is cart response. Okay. And in our qubit, here data as cart response. Okay, so define that this cart response has a lot of params that we may need, like count, skip, limit for pagination. We can try to log the cart response again. Emily S pass. Okay, good. So we get that the cart response this time, the other time around, we were because it was dynamic data, we were seeing all the fields and the entire object in actual sense. Now here we are seeing it's an instance of this, so it's fine. Now we need to rename our methods, because we realize that it's not getting an individual card, but a list of cards in that application. So get card doesn't make sense. So here we say get cards. Okay. And here it becomes get cards. And in the calling method, actually even inside the repository implementation, this should be not cut items. This should be get cuts. So we have now in the repository, we have to change. For cut items is different. Get cuts. It's giving us a list of cuts. This get cuts. Okay, let's try to say cuts returned. Emily S. Emily S. pass. Okay, good. So this is it. It returns cards, meaning a list of cards in that entire application. Okay, which is an instance. It has a list of this is an instance of card. This is an instance of card. This is an instance of card. So all those. Okay. So that is it for now. Thanks for watching Code with Kamira. And kindly subscribe if you've not yet subscribed, and also share with your friends so that we all learn together. Bye.